You know that feeling, when it's like you're trapped in someone else's web, tied down by their emotional control. Ever felt like you're living on their terms, never your own? Like you're losing yourself piece by piece, but you don't know how to escape? Hey, I'm so glad you're here today. If you're watching this, chances are you've felt that suffocating weight of emotional control in your life. You know that moment when you realize someone's pulling your strings, making you feel small, like your worth depends on their approval. But let's talk about the truth, about you, the Sigma female. You've always been a warrior, someone who stands on her own 2 feet, someone who doesn't conform. And if you've been stuck in that emotional web, it's time to cut the strings. Today, we're breaking free. Emotional control, it sneaks in, and before you know it, you're questioning everything you do. Maybe it's the manipulation or the gaslighting. You begin to doubt your decisions, feel guilty for wanting something different, or for not meeting someone else's expectations. It starts small, like you feel like you should be there for them all the time, but they're never there for you. Or maybe you're always apologizing for things that aren't even your fault, and over time you start believing you need them. That's when the control sets in. But here's the thing, you don't need that, and you know it. So how do you break free? How do you reclaim your power and independence? Here are 8 ways you can escape emotional control and start living for yourself again. 1. Recognize your value. This is step 1. You need to see yourself for what you truly are, a powerhouse, worthy of respect. When you know your worth, no one can manipulate you into thinking otherwise. It starts by understanding that you are enough, just as you are. Society often tries to make us doubt ourselves, to convince us that we're not enough unless we fit into certain boxes. But here's the truth. You don't need to be anything other than yourself. When you start recognizing your own value, you stop letting other people define who you are. You no longer allow them to set the standard for your happiness, success, or self-worth. Every person has their own unique set of talents, strengths, and characteristics that make them special, and you need to honor and appreciate yours. You have qualities that no one else has, and that in itself is something to be proud of. And it's not just about external validation. Recognizing your value means that you don't need anyone else's approval to feel good about who you are. You don't need to ask for permission to take up space, to be confident, or to follow your own path. This shift in mindset is key. When you understand your worth, you stop tolerating disrespect or unhealthy dynamics in relationships. Emotional control thrives on the belief that you're not worthy of more, that you don't deserve better. But once you realize your worth, you stop settling for less than what you deserve. You stop accepting situations that drain your energy and stop giving power to people who try to diminish you. The people who truly matter will respect you for who you are, not for what you can do for them or how much you sacrifice for their benefit. Recognizing your value means knowing that you're worthy of love, of respect, and of happiness, not because of your role in someone else's life, but because of who you are at your core. It's also about embracing your uniqueness. As a Sigma female, you don't follow the crowd, you don't fit into the typical molds that society tries to place on you. You stand out because you're strong, independent, and self-sufficient, and that's something to be proud of. No one else can walk your path, make the choices you make, or bring the energy that you bring. Your individuality is your strength, and once you embrace that, you'll find that it becomes your shield against emotional manipulation. No one can convince you that you're less than you are when you know exactly what you bring to the table. Embracing your value means owning your strengths and weaknesses, knowing that both parts of you make you who you are. It's okay to have flaws. It's part of being human. But those flaws don't define your worth. Your worth comes from the way you show up for yourself, the way you choose to navigate life, and the way you decide to live with integrity. When you recognize your value, you stop comparing yourself to others. You stop looking around to see what everyone else is doing and feeling like you're falling short. You realize that your journey is your own, and you don't need to measure it against anyone else's timeline or achievements. Recognizing your value also means understanding your boundaries. When you know your worth, you know what you will and won't accept from others. You don't settle for anything less than respect. And you don't let anyone disrespect you, emotionally or otherwise. Your self-worth is non-negotiable. So, remember, when you recognize your value, you stand tall in your own power. You stop seeking validation from others because you already know you are worthy exactly as you are. No one can take that from you. If you're feeling this, hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment to let me know you're ready to take back control of your life. Let's keep going. 2. Set boundaries like a pro. It's hard at first, but boundaries are everything. Don't let anyone guilt trip you into sacrificing your peace. Your energy is precious, and it's okay to say no. Boundaries are the invisible lines you draw around your life, your mind, your time, and your emotions. They're not just about telling others what they can or can't do, but also about telling yourself what you will and won't tolerate. Setting boundaries isn't easy, especially when you've been taught to put others before yourself, or when you're trying to avoid conflict. But the truth is, without clear boundaries, emotional control can creep in, and before you know it, you're drained, exhausted, and losing pieces of yourself. Boundaries protect you. They protect your emotional health, your time, and your peace of mind. And here's the thing, boundaries aren't selfish. They are necessary for maintaining your well-being. If you don't set boundaries, you allow others to take from you. They can drain you emotionally, mentally, and even physically. And you can get stuck in cycles where you're constantly giving without ever receiving. This leads to burnout, resentment, and a loss of self-worth. When you set boundaries, you take back control over your own life. You decide where your energy goes and who gets access to it. And the best part? You can set boundaries that feel good to you. No one else gets to dictate them. The most important part of setting boundaries is learning to say no. Saying no isn't about being rude or inconsiderate. It's about protecting your peace and respecting yourself. You're not obligated to say yes to everything that comes your way. Whether it's helping someone when you're already exhausted, agreeing to plans you don't want to attend, or letting someone walk all over you emotionally, it's okay to say no. And it's even more powerful when you say no with confidence. Saying no is a way of communicating to others that you value your time and your energy. It's also a way of telling yourself that you matter. If someone tries to make you feel guilty for setting a boundary, it's a red flag. Healthy relationships respect boundaries. If someone tries to push past your limits, that's a clear sign that they don't respect you. And the way you handle this is by standing firm. Your boundaries are yours to protect, and it's your responsibility to enforce them. Another part of setting boundaries is recognizing when you're tolerating behaviors that don't serve you. You know when something feels off. If someone constantly drains your energy, makes you feel anxious, or disrespects your time, that's not okay. And you have every right to remove yourself from that situation. But you don't have to wait for someone else to step over the line. You can proactively set the tone for how you expect to be treated. Whether it's telling someone you need space, or letting them know that you're not available at certain times, or even telling them you won't engage in certain conversations, you set the terms. And once you do, you teach others how to treat you. When you master the art of setting boundaries, you stop letting others take control of your emotional energy. You stop getting pulled into drama, guilt, and manipulation. You become empowered to say what you need, what you want, and what you're willing to tolerate. Boundaries allow you to protect your peace and emotional space. It's your life, your time, your energy, and you have every right to preserve it. And when you set boundaries, you'll find that your relationships improve. The people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries. The ones who don't, they'll fall away. And that's perfectly okay. Because in the end, the only relationship that matters most is the one you have with yourself. 3. Trust yourself again. It's so easy to second-guess your instincts when someone's trying to control you. Start trusting your gut again. You know what's best for you, even if it doesn't fit someone else's script. When you're caught in an emotionally manipulative situation, it's easy to lose faith in your own judgment. Maybe they've gaslighted you. made you question your reality, or manipulated your feelings. And over time you start thinking, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm just being too sensitive. But here's the deal. Your instincts are never wrong. The inner voice you have, the gut feeling you get, that's your truth. It's the voice that knows you better than anyone else, and it's the only voice that matters when it comes to making decisions for your own life. Trusting yourself starts by tuning out the noise. When someone else is controlling the narrative, it's easy to believe they know better than you. They might make you feel like you're overreacting or like your feelings are invalid, but no one knows what's best for you more than you, and if something doesn't feel right, it probably isn't. Trusting yourself means listening to that voice in your head that tells you when something's off. It's the gut feeling that warns you when you're being manipulated or when your boundaries are being pushed. The more you listen to it, the stronger that voice becomes. And the more you trust it, the more you'll find the courage to act on it. It's about reclaiming your autonomy. You're the one who gets to decide what's best for you, not anyone else. When you start trusting yourself, you begin to see things clearly. You stop doubting your decisions, and you stop second-guessing your choices. The truth is, your intuition is powerful. It can guide you out of toxic situations, help you set better boundaries, and keep you from falling into patterns of emotional manipulation. And it doesn't matter if someone tries to undermine that trust. They can't take it from you unless you let them. But to trust yourself, you need to let go of the fear of being wrong. So often, we're afraid to trust our own judgment because we don't want to make mistakes. But here's the reality. Mistakes are part of life. Everyone makes them. The important thing is that you learn from them, not that you avoid them at all costs. When you trust yourself, you allow room for those mistakes. You know that even if things don't go as planned, you'll bounce back because you're capable of handling it. Trusting yourself also means letting go of the need for constant external validation. It's easy to fall into the trap of asking others for their opinions, seeking reassurance, or waiting for someone to tell you what to do. But that only undermines your trust in yourself. Instead, start making decisions based on what feels right for you, not what others think. It can be as simple as trusting your instincts about a situation, or trusting your own judgment when it comes to your career, your relationships, or your self-care. The more you trust yourself, the more confidence you'll build. And the more confidence you build, the less you'll need to rely on others to feel secure in your choices. When you trust yourself, you stop giving others the power to make decisions for you. You stop letting them dictate how you feel, and you stop letting them control your emotional well-being. The truth is, you've always known what's best for you. It's just about having the courage to trust it again and take action based on what you know to be true. And once you do that, you'll realize that you've been in control all along. If you're loving these tips, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a comment on what's been your biggest challenge. Let's move on. 4. Find your tribe. Surround yourself with people who empower you, not drain you. Whether it's family, friends, or a community online, find people who get it, who lift you up, and remind you of who you really are. Your tribe isn't just about having people around you, it's about having the right people around you. You know the difference between someone who genuinely has your back and someone who's only there for their own benefit. A real tribe is made up of those who respect your boundaries, support your growth, and want to see you succeed, not those who make you feel small, manipulate your emotions, or undermine your confidence. It's easy to get caught in toxic relationships, especially when they've been part of your life for a while. Maybe it's family members who always make you feel like you're not enough, or friends who always expect something from you without ever giving back. It's exhausting, and it can leave you feeling drained and disconnected from who you really are. But here's the thing, you don't have to stay in those kinds of relationships. Your tribe is out there, and they will lift you up in ways you never thought possible. These are the people who see you for who you are, not for what you can do for them. They understand your worth and will never try to manipulate you emotionally or make you feel less than. They are the ones who will celebrate your wins with you, support you when you're down, and encourage you to keep going when the road gets tough. Finding your tribe isn't about being surrounded by a huge group of people. It's about quality over quantity. A handful of genuine friends who get you is far more valuable than a group of people who only hang around when it's convenient for them. And the best part? Your tribe will encourage you to be yourself. They won't try to change you. They'll embrace your quirks and love you for exactly who you are. When you find your tribe, you'll feel safe, you'll feel seen, and more importantly, you'll feel supported. You won't have to second-guess yourself because the people around you will respect your choices, your boundaries, and your decisions. They'll cheer you on when you take risks, and they'll be there to help pick you up when you fall. But it's also important to note that finding your tribe starts with being that person for yourself. You can't expect others to respect you if you don't respect yourself first. You have to show up for yourself in the same way you want others to show up for you. Your tribe isn't just about what they bring to your life, but also what you bring to theirs. This is where the magic happens, when both sides support, encourage, and lift each other up. So, start with building the kind of energy you want to attract. Be the kind of friend, partner, and supporter you want in return. And as you start building that energy, the right people will naturally be drawn to you. Let go of relationships that no longer serve you. It's okay to walk away from people who bring negativity or drama into your life. Protect your energy fiercely. When you start surrounding yourself with those who empower you, you'll begin to feel a shift in your own energy. You'll feel more confident, more capable, and ready to take on the world. And that's the power of finding your tribe. They remind you of your strength, your worth, and your potential, especially when you've forgotten it yourself. 5. Cut out toxicity. You don't need to tolerate toxic relationships. If someone is pulling you down, it's time to let them go. It's tough, but you're tougher. Toxic people are like energy vampires. They drain you without giving anything back. They don't care about your boundaries or your well-being. They're only interested in what they can take from you. And when you're caught in a toxic cycle, you start feeling overwhelmed, confused, and completely drained. But here's the thing, you don't owe anyone your energy or your time, especially if they're not treating you with the respect you deserve. Cutting out toxicity starts with identifying it. It's about recognizing when someone's behavior is hurting you, manipulating you, or making you feel less than. Maybe they're constantly putting you down, making you feel guilty, or belittling your accomplishments, or maybe they're always taking, without ever giving anything in return. Whatever the case, you need to understand that you're under no obligation to stay in those kinds of relationships. Toxicity comes in many forms. Some are obvious, and others are more subtle. It can be a partner who gaslights you, a friend who only reaches out when they need something, or a family member who constantly makes you feel like you're not enough. Over time, these toxic behaviors erode your self-esteem, leaving you questioning your worth and second-guessing your decisions. And that's exactly what they want, to make you feel like you're small, that you need them, or that you can't live without them. But you can. You can live without the emotional manipulation, the guilt-tripping, and the negativity. Cutting out toxicity doesn't always mean cutting out the person entirely. Sometimes it means distancing yourself, setting firm boundaries, or limiting your contact with them. In extreme cases, though, it might mean ending the relationship altogether, and that's okay. It's tough, especially when it's someone you care about or someone who's been in your life for a long time. But ask yourself this: if they're making you feel terrible about yourself, do they really deserve to stay in your life? Do you want to keep letting them control your emotions and your energy? The answer should be no. In fact, it needs to be number, because you deserve better than that. You deserve to be surrounded by people who lift you up, not drag you down. You deserve to feel supported, loved, and respected, not manipulated, drained, or belittled. When you start cutting out toxicity, you begin to reclaim your emotional energy. You stop being pulled into drama, guilt, and negative cycles. You stop allowing people to walk all over you, and you start protecting your peace. The more you let go of toxic people, the more space you create for healthier, more fulfilling relationships. relationships where there's mutual respect, support, and understanding. And the more you stand up for yourself and say no to toxicity, the stronger you become. You realize that your time and energy are precious, and you no longer let people take advantage of you. Cutting out toxicity isn't always easy, but it's necessary. It's an act of self-love and self-respect. You're not doing it to hurt anyone else. You're doing it to protect yourself and create the life you deserve. When you let go of toxic relationships, you're making room for the people who truly appreciate you and the life that truly aligns with your values. Let go of the negativity, cut out the toxicity, and embrace the peace, joy, and love that you deserve. Before we move to the next part, don't forget to subscribe, drop a comment, and like if this has been helping you reclaim your strength. Now let's get to the big reveal. 6. Embrace your alone time. It's not a punishment, it's freedom. Sigma females know the power of solitude. Take the time to reconnect with yourself. Find peace in your own company. It's your secret strength. Society often makes us feel like we're supposed to be constantly surrounded by others, that we need to be in a relationship or always out with friends to be happy. But that's a lie. The truth is, there's immense power in embracing alone time. Alone time isn't about being lonely. It's about reclaiming your space, your energy, and your thoughts. It's about reconnecting with who you are at your core. When you spend time alone, you have the opportunity to reflect, recharge, and listen to your inner voice without the noise of the outside world. It's when you're alone that you can tap into your creativity, your dreams, and your personal goals. You can think clearly without anyone else's opinions or influences clouding your judgment. Alone time also allows you to focus on personal growth. You can dive into books, work on your passions, and build the life you've always wanted, without distractions or the pressure to please anyone else. The beauty of being alone is that it's all about you. It's your time to reset and focus on your needs without feeling guilty for taking up space. When you learn to enjoy your own company, you stop depending on others for validation, love, or happiness. You realize that you're whole on your own. Being alone also gives you the space to heal. Whether it's from past relationships, emotional wounds, or anything else, solitude allows you to process your feelings without the influence of anyone else. It's in these moments of stillness that you can fully reconnect with yourself, understand your emotions, and let go of any negative energy you may have been holding onto. Alone time doesn't have to be lonely. It can be incredibly fulfilling. It's where you have the chance to practice self-care, to engage in activities that make you happy, and to remember what makes you feel alive. Whether it's walking in nature, painting, journaling, or just sitting in silence, time spent alone is time spent on nurturing yourself. And here's the thing, alone time doesn't mean you're shutting people out. It means you're giving yourself the space to fill your own cup so you can show up fully for others when the time comes. You can be independent without being isolated. Being alone can also strengthen your independence. It teaches you that you don't need anyone else to validate your choices, your desires, or your dreams. You can pursue what you want without waiting for someone else's approval. It's in your alone time that you realize how capable and strong you truly are. And of course, there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Loneliness comes from feeling like you're missing something, but being alone is a choice. It's empowering. So, start embracing your alone time. Use it as a tool for personal growth, reflection, and healing. Reclaim your energy, rediscover your passions, and become the best version of yourself. Alone time isn't something to fear. It's a powerful opportunity to rediscover your strength and freedom. 7. Practice self-love. Look, if you're not loving yourself first, you're setting yourself up for manipulation. Take care of your mind, your body, your soul. Fill up your own cup before you pour it out for others. Self-love is more than just a feel-good mantra. It's a crucial practice for reclaiming your emotional strength and breaking free from the chains of emotional control. When you practice self-love, you stop looking outside of yourself for validation or approval. Instead, you build an internal foundation of confidence and self-worth that no one can shake. And that's powerful. Practicing self-love means putting yourself first, without guilt. For far too long, many women are taught to prioritize others, to take care of everyone else, and to sacrifice their own needs. But when you constantly give, without taking time for yourself, you end up empty. You're giving from a place of depletion, not abundance. And that's where the emotional control creeps in. You let others take from you because you feel like your value is tied to how much you give. But that's not true. Your worth isn't defined by how much you sacrifice or how many people you put before yourself. It's defined by who you are, by the love and respect you show yourself. When you prioritize self-love, you start by treating yourself with the same kindness, respect, and understanding you offer to others. You forgive yourself for mistakes, accept your imperfections, and celebrate your wins, no matter how big or small. Self-love means setting boundaries and saying no when you need to. It means walking away from situations and people that don't serve your growth, happiness, or peace. It means choosing what's best for you, even if it's hard. Practicing self-love also means taking care of your mental health. It's about checking in with yourself, identifying when you're stressed or overwhelmed, and giving yourself permission to rest. Too often, we push ourselves to the limit, ignoring our own needs until we break down. But self-love is about tuning in to your own body and mind and making sure you're okay. If you need a break, take it. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to be alone, be alone. Don't ignore your own needs just because you're worried about what others will think. Self-love means taking care of your body too. It's about respecting it enough to nourish it, move it, and give it the rest it deserves. You don't need to fit into any mold. Self-love is about embracing your body just as it is. Celebrate your strength, your beauty, and your uniqueness. It's about honoring what your body does for you every single day, no matter what shape it's in. Practicing self-love also means nurturing your soul. Feed your passions, pursue what lights you up, and surround yourself with things that make you feel alive. Whether it's art, travel, writing, or anything else that brings you joy, prioritize what makes your soul sing. Finally, self-love means learning to be your own biggest cheerleader. Instead of being your harshest critic, become your loudest fan. Support yourself the way you'd support a best friend, encouraging, loving, and never tearing yourself down. When you start practicing self-love, you stop giving others the power to dictate how you feel about yourself. You start building an internal sense of worth that no one can take away. Self-love isn't selfish, it's essential. When you love yourself, you become unstoppable. And that's the first step in breaking free from emotional control. 8. Make tough decisions. Sometimes, escaping emotional control means making the hardest choices. And it's okay to walk away from people or situations that no longer serve you. It's not abandonment, it's self-preservation. Life isn't always about making the easiest choice. It's about making the right one for your peace and growth. And sometimes that means walking away from relationships, jobs, or situations that no longer align with your well-being or your values. When you're emotionally controlled by someone, they often try to make you believe that you need them, that your life will be worse without them. But the truth is, you will always be better off without people who drain you or manipulate you. The hardest part of making these decisions is often the fear of being alone or the fear of disappointing others. We've been conditioned to think that we need to keep everyone happy, that we need to stay in toxic situations because it's easier than confronting the discomfort of change. But let me tell you something, it's worth it. Walking away from toxic relationships is not only a form of self-respect, it's an act of self-love. Making tough decisions doesn't mean you're abandoning people. It means you're choosing to prioritize your mental, emotional, and physical health over their need to control you. The truth is, staying in an unhealthy relationship or situation out of fear or obligation only prolongs your pain. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But sometimes the best way to protect your peace is to make the decision to let go. And here's the kicker. You'll be amazed at how much lighter, freer, and stronger you feel once you make that choice. You'll find strength you didn't even know you had. Because when you take the difficult step of making these decisions, you start to reclaim your power. You begin to realize that you are not defined by the people around you or by the toxic situations you've been in. You are you, and you are worthy of a life that respects your boundaries, your peace, and your value. This could mean leaving a manipulative partner, cutting ties with a friend who only reaches out when they need something, or stepping away from a family dynamic that keeps making you feel small. It's about recognizing that staying in these situations is not an act of love, it's an act of self-sabotage. It's an acknowledgement that you deserve better, that you deserve to be treated with respect, kindness, and genuine love. Making tough decisions also means recognizing when you need to step away from a job or an environment that no longer aligns with who you are or what you want out of life. Sometimes, the workplace can be a breeding ground for emotional control and manipulation. If your environment doesn't support your growth, your happiness, or your mental health, walking away can open the door to new opportunities that align with your values. It's scary, yes, but so worth it. And here's something important to remember. Once you make these tough decisions, you're not just moving on. You're growing. You're choosing yourself over the fear of staying stagnant. You're making a choice to honor your worth and to build the life that reflects the person you truly are. So, take the tough road. Make the tough choices. And know that every decision you make in favor of yourself is a step towards the freedom and empowerment you deserve. The key moment? The realization that you are the string cutter. You don't need anyone else to decide your worth or tell you how to live your life. When you understand that, everything changes. You stop asking for permission. You stop apologizing for who you are. This is the turning point, the moment when the chains fall off and you realize you hold the power. You've always had it. You were just waiting for the courage to recognize it. No more letting others pull your strings, control your choices, or define your happiness. No more letting someone else dictate your worth based on their standards or their needs. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into their version of what you should be. You stop worrying about how others perceive you and start caring about how you perceive yourself. This is the power of breaking free from emotional control. It's the moment when you stop asking for validation. You stop seeking approval from people who've never understood your value. You realize you don't need their permission to be who you are. You've always been enough, just as you are. And that's a revelation in itself. When you embrace this, everything shifts. You start to own your life. You start to trust your decisions and stop second-guessing yourself. You know that you can make mistakes and still be worthy of love, respect, and success. The idea that you have to earn these things from others disappears. You become your own validation. And most importantly, you start to love yourself without apologies. You don't have to hide parts of yourself or apologize for your feelings, your choices, or your desires. You embrace them fully and unapologetically. This self-love isn't about being perfect. It's about accepting your flaws and imperfections and understanding that they don't diminish your worth. You stop living in fear of judgment, and instead, you live in alignment with who you truly are. You realize that your true strength comes from within, from your ability to love yourself fully and live authentically. When you reach this point, it's like stepping into a new chapter of your life. You feel lighter, freer, and more confident in who you are. You understand that your life is yours to shape, and you don't have to apologize for taking control of it. Your path is yours alone to walk, and as long as you're true to yourself, you can't go wrong. So, let's sum it up. Emotional control doesn't have to define you. You can break free from it. It starts with knowing your worth, setting those boundaries, and not being afraid to let go of what doesn't serve you. It's about building the courage to walk away from what's toxic and embracing who you truly are. It's about learning to trust your instincts and practice self-love. It's about realizing that you don't need anyone's permission to live your life the way you choose. And here's the best part. You already have everything you need to make this happen. You have the strength within you, the ability to make the hard choices, and the power to build the life you deserve. You are not defined by anyone else's rules or opinions. You define yourself. I want to hear from you. Have you ever been caught in emotional control? How did you break free? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I love reading your stories, and don't forget to check out my next video on building emotional resilience. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. You're not alone in this journey. You've got this.